What is going on, YouTube? We are back. We're here covering our NFL Week 3 reactions. Very busy week, very interesting week. Lots of insane similarities happened in a lot of games. Can't wait to get into them. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So let's just dive right into it. We're going to start with our Thursday night game. We had Bills play Dolphins. Bills win by 10. Was kind of shocked by that. I figured the Bills just were going to be more prolific on offense, even though they still were pretty good. The Dolphins put up a good fight. The Dolphins, this was probably their best overall game that we've seen from them throughout the season. And they were really right there in it for the majority of that game until Tua Tagovailoa striked them yet again. I think the Bills still look like one of the best teams in the AFC. The Dolphins, you showed some promise in this game, but I still got a lot of questions, especially on defense and offense, just in general. You're 0-3. I'm starting to wonder, do we start creeping towards that point of really having to make changes with this team? I don't know how much longer the front office, the ownership is going to keep running it back with this group of guys without making a change. As opposed to the Bills keep doing what they've been doing. The defense still looks somewhat suspect at times, but they're starting to rally. They're starting to make plays. The offense is going to keep you in a lot of games between Josh Allen, James Cook. Still expecting a little more out of Keon Coleman. I understand it's early into the second year of his NFL career. There's still going to be a little bit of growing pains, but I'm still expecting more from him. So maybe throughout the season he can develop a little more and fit into that wide receiver one role that they're expecting him to be in. But it's still early for them. So all around, it was actually a really entertaining Thursday night game. But Bills come away big, like we thought. One of the early shockers of the 1 o'clock window. Panthers, boys in blue, beat the absolute hell out of the Falcons. I mean, we're talking 30-0. 30-0. Shutout. And I will say, the Falcons were shooting themselves in the foot so much in this game. Michael Penix, 2 interception day. One for a pick six. I mean, Panthers on offense didn't necessarily look great. They looked solid. They moved the ball well. They didn't turn the ball over. They ran the ball very effectively, which opened up some of the passing game. Tedros McMillan had an insane catch. I mean, high ball, and it looked like he jumped twice to go and get it. And it was just the flashes Tedros McMillan is showing for this offense gets Panther fans excited. Because now we can sit here and go, oh, we may have a true number one, a true top end talent on this team on the perimeter with already good running back and a somewhat decent offensive line. Things are starting to trend in the right direction for the offense. The defense still is looking very non-productive in the defensive line category. The secondary played solid. There were a couple miscues here and there, but all around they started turning around. I'm still worried about the linebackers. The D-line I'm still worried about, even though there's a lot of youth in that department. Maybe they can still develop, but I thought the defense played pretty well, even though a lot of it was just the Falcons shooting themselves in the foot between turnovers, penalties, miscues. They had a couple drops on the day, but still, to get shut out 30-0 when you've been averaging right around 22 plus points a game. It's kind of bad. It's really bad. I mean, especially when Bijan still has, I think, over 100 total yards, rushing and receiving. You still can't score at least once. They didn't even cross the Panthers 30. That's how one-sided it was. Didn't cross Panthers 30 not once the entire game. So bad, Kirk Cousins came in and still couldn't really do nothing. It was a great day for Panthers fans. Maybe this builds confidence going into the rest of the season. Who knows? I would like to think so. We're going to Super Bowl. I'm kidding. Too early. Maybe. No, too early. one of the other shockers in the 1 o'clock window. Vikings just absolutely dominated the Bengals. I mean, it wasn't even close there. It was 48-10. Vikings forced 5 turnovers, or no, 5 fumbles, 7 interceptions, or not 7 interceptions, 7 total turnovers, 5 fumbles, 2 picks, both picks by Isaiah Rodgers. He scored on both. Insane. Jake Browning didn't really do a whole lot. He led 1 touchdown drive, but that was in garbage time in the 4th. Vikings, I mean, the Carson Wentz experience is insane. He's out here slinging the rock. Doesn't mean he's going to be the full-time starter, but showed some promise. They don't have to rush J.J. McCarthy back in anytime soon, but Vikings still able to run the ball. They can sling the ball at will. That defense is lights out right now with Brian Flores. The Vikings can build on this and still have a very dominant year. The Bengals, expected a little more from the offense just because of the amount of weapons you have, but it proves that you can't really pay 2 wide receivers, a quarterback, and a defensive end and expect to get it all done because your secondary looked bad. You couldn't really tackle an open space. You can't even block for your backup quarterback, let alone your starting quarterback. So it's a tire fire over there. It's not going well. But the Vikings went out, handled business at home. It was just great tape for them. Still shocked by the fact that it was a 38-point game, 7 turnovers on the day. That's just, at that point, new question: is it even good offense, or is it great defense, or is it really just really bad offense and the defense is able to capitalize? The Vikings do have pretty good defense, though. I will say that. Next, we got a game that was surprisingly closer than I thought. Pittsburgh in New England. It's 21-14. Pittsburgh won. They also had a big defensive day. 5 turnovers forced. There were 2 Ramondre Stevenson fumbles. I think Drake May threw a pick or 2, and I think he also had a fumble. And yet they were still right there in it. Steelers offense looked pretty solid for the most part. There were a couple drives they probably wish they had back. But Aaron's keeping them still better than what they had been on offense the last couple years. The defense kind of turned around today. They put out really good tape after giving up 30 pieces the last 2 weeks. So just maybe be able to give them momentum. It looked like they were able to stop the run decently. Obviously forcing the turnovers big. 1 in the red zone, which is huge. Pass defense still looking pretty solid. But if you're the Patriots, yes, you lose this game, but you were right there with them. I mean, it came down to last drive, 4th down. I'm still surprised Demario Douglas catches the ball. He's 1 yard from the line of gain, and he just runs backwards. I don't know what you're doing there, especially with like 50 seconds left, and you're going to be on the other 50. I don't know how you catch it and then just immediately decide to run backwards. Like, yes, I understand there's 2 defenders coming, but you just need 1 yard. You can't catch it and then fight for that extra yard. At least make it close. When you ran backwards, you lost a yard. So instead of it being, a close potential spot, you went back another yard or 2. It was easy for the officials to be like, yeah, you didn't get it. And then it was just ball game from there. So, yes, Pittsburgh won, but I think they kind of stole it. Just a tad, I think they stole it. But Patriots, I wouldn't hang your heads too low. I mean, the fact that you only lost by a touchdown, you had 5 total turnovers on the day. Obviously, you can't do that every week, but gives you some upside for your overall team. Next, again, one of the bigger shock teams of the year. Indianapolis Colts. Indiana Jones. Daniel Jones and the boys, man. They're just rolling through people. I understand it was Titans. Beat them 41-20, but I feel like that offense really can't do no wrong. Doesn't matter if they're running it, passing it. Can't really do much wrong. I mean, Daniel Jones had 230 yards and a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor had another 100-plus game. All the weapons are making plays. That offensive line's actually really good. And we look at the defense. The defense is really good as well. I mean, Cam Ward did not have... He had an all-right day, but that offensive line got ate up, snatched by that Colts D line. And even then, the secondary is making plays, linebackers are making plays. They're flying around on both sides of the ball in Indianapolis. And in a division that's not that good, theirs for the taking very easily. Titans, I'm still not sold on them, but I can see the flashes. I can see the flashes from Cam Ward. I can see what they want to do offensively. I just don't think they have enough talent offensively to make it happen. And the defense isn't really going to win you a whole lot of games. That defense is going to lose you more games. But Cam Ward is still looking solid. He hasn't had that game yet where you're like, whoa. But doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's really hard for rookie quarterbacks to elevate mid-tier talent, per se. But, I mean, he's consistently keeping them in games for the most part. This one, I mean, wasn't really close just because Indianapolis just jumped out on a lead early and just kept attacking the whole day. So, again, Indianapolis looks like a team that is a real threat. Next, you have an underwhelming game. It's 17-10. Jags beat the Texans in Jacksonville. CJ Stroud, man, we got to have a conversation about CJ Stroud. He has not looked anywhere close to rookie year CJ Stroud. And I understand some of the wideout talent has been banged up. I understand they're missing Joe Mixon, but that offensive line is bad. It's bad. But even still, like, there's some plays I'm like, CJ, what are we doing? We're airmailing guys who are open. We're throwing the ball almost right at DBs. You're lucky they're dropping half of them. It's just, this offense is kind of at a point where there's nothing that's super consistent. It's either bang plays or it's just nothing. And you can't have sustained success with that. With Jacksonville, not a super great game from them either. I mean, the defense had a really good day. They came up with the turnover late to flat out win it when they had the lead and was able to get a turnover late to just finish them off. Trevor Lawrence still hasn't really looked great. The run game wasn't really there. It was just a matter of they made a couple more plays than the Texans. And I mean, I will say putting 17 on that Texans defense is pretty good. Just because that Texans defense is really good. That the defense is the only reason right now the Texans are in a lot of games. It's not the offense, it's the defense. That defense comes up big week in and week out. And at some point, it's going to take a toll on them. Some point, they're just going to get worn out. They might have injuries. Then is when we start having questions. Like, is CJ the guy? Does D'Amico Ryans know what he's doing? I would say he does just because of that defense. That defense is lights out, but it's almost to a point where I feel like you got to find an offense coordinator that actually can build an offense, cater to what Stroud's good at, what he's not good at, and get the playmakers out there. I think they have good playmakers. I think the issue is CJ can't get the ball to him. Why? Because that offensive line is so bad. I don't understand why so many teams get decent quarterback talent and can't build an offensive line around them. I'm not saying they have to be a top 5 in the league every year. Sure, your quarterback would love it. But even if they're average, slightly above average, good quarterbacks will do well with that. But this Texans offensive line is just bad. It's just bad. I'm not saying they're the worst. I would still give that to probably the Bengals or maybe a couple other teams we'll mention later. Next, we have Eagles-Rams. At one point, this game was ugly. I mean, we're talking Rams were up like 26-3 in Philly. We're like, uh-oh. Are the Eagles washed? Couldn't move the ball. I remember the stat from halftime. It was Rams, I think, total had 150 yards, a couple scores, and the Eagles had like 38 rushing yards and -1 passing yards. We're like, what are we doing? With this many playmakers, what are we doing? Then all of a sudden, Devontae and AJ, they're finally getting the ball in their hands. Jalen's finally making throws, and I think both ended with touchdowns at 100 yards. and it just mounted to a comeback. They just grinded away, kept scoring, getting the stops they needed, showed that they still have a top 5 caliber defense. And with all that being said, yes, the Eagles were up a point. Rams drive down the field. They're in field goal range. Just a little 44-yarder. And the Eagles blocked it to win the game and scored a touchdown. But the crazy part is, that wasn't the first block kick of the game. The Rams, their previous drive, had a chance to kick a field goal to go up 3 to have 29 before the Eagles went down and scored their last touchdown on offense. And that one also got blocked. They had 2 block kicks on the day. It's already hard enough to get 1. But you had 2. By the same guy. Jordan Davis was back there both times. He's the one that scored the second block touchdown. I don't know. I'd hate to say that that's the reason why the Rams lost the game, because it's really not. But a lot of people are going to say it is, because you had 2 field goals they got blocked. One to be definitely to win the game. The other to just extend your lead, which is both crucial at this point. But credit to the Eagles. Came out in the second half, played lights out. I mean, the Rams, I really don't think there was a whole lot more you could have done in the second half. Obviously, the answer would be to score. But you had the opportunities. You just kind of missed out on them. I'm not super worried about the Rams. I think the Rams are going to be just fine. That defense is still phenomenal. They were given Hurts, that offensive line, Saquon, fits all day. So I think as the season prolongs, they're only going to get better. I think it's going to be a nice little turning point for the Rams, because now they've played in these close games. Now they're able to pivot, whereas week 1 they played in a close game, but it was just more so the fact of the defense made plays, and eventually they wore out the Texans' defense, where this one is a defense that's been down, and they're grinding away at you, and they're just building momentum. You got to find a way to be able to at least get a first down or 2 to bring that momentum down back to your side. Because once the Eagles get rolling, man, they are just a machine. Granted, still a couple tush pushes with a little false starts that aren't getting called, but what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. Next, we got Jets, Bucks. This was also an ugly game at one point. Bucks were up 3 scores at one point, and then the Jets come roaring back. Bucks are going to kick a field goal to extend their lead to 29-20, and then all of a sudden, you guessed it, Jets block a field goal and return it for a touchdown to take the lead at just right above 2 minutes. But they made a crucial mistake. Made a crucial mistake in giving Baker Mayfield the ball with a chance to go out and win the game. And what did he do? He took his team down the field, and they won the game off of a kick field goal. What did it cost them? Cost them Mike Evans. Mike Evans is going to be out for a couple of weeks with a hammy. But, again, does it really matter? I mean, it matters in the grand scheme of it all, but Emeka Egbuka is phenomenal, dude. He just gets open, has good hands. And I think even though Evans is going to be hurt, I think the offense will still be just fine, because they're still able to run the ball well with Bucky Irvin and Rachaad White. That defense is still playing top 15, top 10 level. And you still got Emeka Egbuka. You still got Baker. You got enough to ride the ship while you're still waiting for Chris Godwin to get back. You're waiting for Evans to recover from this injury. They're going to be just fine. But the Jets, you know, we had high hopes for them after week 1 with the performance they put out against Pitt and almost stole that game. Now they're just kind of looking below average. You know, I'm gonna need to see a little more out of Justin Fields. Granted, Garrett Wilson had a really good game. He was majority of the offense for that comeback. But there's a couple bright spots. That defense is still playing pretty good for the most part, but there's definitely going to be some growing pains on both sides of the ball as the season goes along. I still think Aaron Glenn's going to be able to figure it all out, get some of his personnel right, but still early. But Bucks come out and get the win. That's all that matters this time of year. Commanders, Raiders. I mean, Commanders just took the lead and ran with it. With Marcus Mariota at quarterback, Jaden Daniels didn't play. Had I believe it was a punt return touchdown, or it was an interception return touchdown. Might have had both. Special teams was big for the Commanders this week. Offense did their job. Defense made a couple plays. Gino's still trying to get used to his weapons. I know Bowers, I think, is still playing with a little bit of an injury. Their weapons are a little inconsistent. A couple drop balls. Haven't really been able to get Genty fully going yet. But I think that's more the offensive line issue more than Genty per se. But not really a lot to write home about with this. Just Commanders riding the ship without Jaden Daniels. The next game, probably the biggest upset of the week. The Cleveland Browns beat the Packers 13-10. The Packers were up 10-0 with, I think, 8 minutes left. Browns come back, tie it up. Packers got a chance with right around 50 seconds, maybe a minute left, kick a field goal, go up late. And the Browns blocked it. If you're keeping track, that is now 4 blocked field goals on today. 4. 2 in the Eagles game. 1 in the Packers-Browns game. Another one in the Jets game. That's 4 on the day, all on the same day. Very weird. Very weird that a lot of field goal units were bad. But this came to bite the Packers in the rear because Browns got the ball. Joey Flacco made the couple throws he needed, got the team in field goal range, and they were able to kick it and not get blocked. They walk out as winners in that one, and that was just... I mean, the issue was with this game was the fact that the Packers knew going in they were playing against a really good run defense, so they went pass heavy, and it wasn't really working. I don't know if it was just the fact of a couple miscues, bad decisions, or what, but it wasn't really working, especially against a Browns team that isn't really able to move the ball well. But if you're constantly going to put your defense on the field regularly, they're going to get worn out, and eventually a bad offense will find a way to score some points. All they had to score was 13. It was good enough to win. I think if you're LaFleur, you're going to look at this and be like, we got to figure out the run game and make it work no matter how good that team is, just to help take some of the pressure off of Jordan Love and his weapons. Because if they're able to run the ball, we've seen what they can do. We saw what they did against the Lions. We saw what they did last week. Just looking like, again, one of the best teams in the league. So I think you just got to get back to that winning formula. I'm not super worried about the Packers. Yes, it's a tough loss, but it's still early in the season. There's still going to be a little inconsistencies. You're still working in some new players on both sides of the ball. Micah's snap counts are only going up. Matthew Golden's snap counts are only going up. And you're still shuffling around your offensive line a little bit. They're still trying to get healthy. But it's just a tough beat early in the year, but I think they'll ride the ship and be just fine. Next, Chargers-Broncos. This was an interesting game, mainly because the Broncos defense came out swinging early. They were putting all kinds of pressure on Herbert. They were getting home on their stunts and blitzes. Forced a couple turnovers. It was a good while I thought Broncos were going to win this game. And I had chances to. But get to that fourth quarter, man. And I don't know if it's the Jim Harbaugh effect or if it's the fact that maybe Justin's finally been in the league enough that things are clicking. Justin Herbert looks different, especially in that fourth quarter. He looks different. He is, at least on the field, looking like closer to that top five quarterback conversation than ever before. We knew the talent was there. Then questions were confidence and, hesitancy at times. Now it looks like he's not really thinking. He's just going out there and playing. And it's working phenomenal. He made a play, rolling to his left, and threw a strike to Keenan Allen to tie the game. And it looked like he didn't even think. He just rolled, saw Keenan Allen, and just zipped it in there. and he was able to turn around and drive him down the field and score a game-winning field goal. I mean, he just put on a clinic in that fourth quarter. And Chargers are 3-0. All three wins come against division opponents, so they're already up 3-0 in their division, which is huge for this time of year. Very big, because the Broncos will have to play on the road, but the Chiefs, they get at home, and the Raiders, they still get at home. So your last three division games, it's 2 home games and a road game. I think if you're a Chiefs fan or you're part of this organization, you like where you're at. Because you're at a point where if you keep handling business against some of the lower teams you have to play, and you probably only got to win one of your 2 home games, I mean, you're at 4 wins in the division. Chiefs are struggling. The Raiders hadn't looked great. Broncos are a little bit of a roller coaster. You might be able to coast and win this division. Then you're really playing for top 3 seed, getting to host a playoff game or 2. Chargers are in a really good spot. Broncos, the offense is starting to look concerning. Troy Franklin didn't do a whole lot. He had a drop or 2. One was going to be for a touchdown, which really could have changed the dynamic of this game. Bo Nix, I don't know how much more we're going to get out of him. I feel like we've kind of seen the ceiling for him. It's just more so like, can he stay consistent at that ceiling? Because it's like when he gets to the ceiling, he makes really good plays. He's smart. He moves the chains, and they're able to score points. But if he's not reaching his ceiling and trending towards middle or towards floor, the offense gets a little ugly at times. And they haven't really been able to get the run game going fully. They have it in spurts. J.K. Dobbins had a couple big runs, but then when they try to go back to kind of ground and pound, it wasn't working. All while, keep in mind, Khalil Mack did not play in this game. And the Chargers defense figured it out in the second half. They were missing one of their top defensive linemen and still were able to figure out and stop the run. So I think that's pretty impressive because in theory, it should only get healthier. But big win for the Chargers to come back and win it. I think it's going to be big for confidence going early on into the year. Next game, not a whole lot to write home about either. Seattle hosted the Saints, and from the get-go, it was all Seahawks. Had a punt return touchdown, had an interception return for a touchdown. The offense was able to do whatever they wanted, run the ball, throw the ball over the yard. Pretty sure Drew Lock played most of the fourth quarter because it didn't really matter. Spencer Rattler doesn't look great. Every now and then he'll make a nice little throw out of the pocket, but most time it's been in, especially this game, garbage time, soft coverage. I mean, Tyler Shutt came in, didn't look amazing. So it's just, again, like I've been saying, the Saints are not really good, and it's just starting to show, especially when they play against better competition. Seattle handles business. They're 2-1 in the division, or not in the division, just 2-1 overall in general. Looking like they have a really good chance to compete for the division. Granted, it's still early, but Sam Darnold looked solid. That run game looked good. It's just, I mean, that's all there really is to talk about. I mean, Seattle just put on a clinic, and Saints couldn't do nothing even if they wanted to. Next game, you had undefeated Arizona against undefeated 49ers. So one team breaking their streak. In Santa Clara, 49ers find a way to win with backup Mac Jones. I will say, for a good bit of this game, Mac Jones didn't look that bad. He made a couple good plays. And right there at the end, close game. Turns the ball over, and we're thinking, uh-oh, Cardinals are going to run away with this. And then the defense steps up, surprisingly, because the defense has lost a lot of talent, but they're still playing phenomenal for defense coordinator Robert Saleh, who was there the first time they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs. That defense is still playing really good. And the offense is kind of what's holding them back right now. I understand they don't have Brock Purdy. Brandon Ayuk is still hurt. And you would hope with your starters it would only get better. But the Cardinals, man, I don't know. I mean, you lose James Conner for the year. He tore Achilles. I don't know what the issue is. I feel like the Cardinals are also very inconsistent. but it's not. I don't think it's necessarily Kyler's fault because he can get out of the pocket. He's very mobile and throws a very good ball. There were just a couple big drops. Like I remember one drop to Marvin Harrison. I think late second quarter, early third, wide open. I mean, he just has turn, catch it, and he should be able to walk into the end zone. Drop. I mean, just flat out drops it. They go back to that play in the fourth quarter for a big gain, and he catches it. So I think they got to figure out a way to get him fully involved because he was a top pick talent you took. He has the skill set to be really good. But at times it seems like he disappears in games. So they got to figure out a way to get him the ball more, build that connection with Kyler because I think it'd be really good for them. I mean, we saw what Kyler did when he built a connection with a wide receiver. He had them a couple years with D-Hop. When D-Hop was on the field, they were pretty good together. So you would hope that you could do this with a younger receiver, maybe a little more faster at this point in his career than when D-Hop was there, and build an offense around it. Granted, like I said, James Conner got hurt, so now Trey Benson's going to take over a lot of those carries. I think Trey Benson will do just fine. I mean, he was really good at Florida State. We're going to see what he can do in Arizona. The defense is pretty good in Arizona. I think they got a good pass rush going on. Decent secondary. The linebackers, little hit and miss, but they're still flying around. They're making plays. So I think both these teams are also going to be able to compete for the division. I think NFC West is sneaky loaded. Whether it's talent or coaching, bit of both. I think this is going to be one of the better divisions where we're going to get to week 14 and it's like, look, the division's up for anybody and that second spot might go to one of these teams just based off of how they're all playing. Granted, it's only week 3, but just from what we're seeing on paper from all these teams, they all have chances. Next game is Bears throttle the Cowboys at home. I understand CeeDee got hurt early. Ankle sprain, he's going to be out for a little bit. Bears jumped out to an early lead. I mean, Bears finally look comfortable in this offense with Ben Johnson. Big play to Rome Odunze, who just absolutely burned Trayvon Diggs. Former All-Pro corner. Just burned him off the line. Gone. Bears get the ball back and run a little flea flicker. Caleb, I will say, threw a beautiful 60-yard strike to Luther Burden for his first touchdown as a rookie. And it was like from there, Cowboys came roaring back. Dak led a couple good touchdown drives. And after that, the Bears just did whatever they want. Granted, I still don't know if it's because the Bears are necessarily great and clicking all cylinders, or if it's the fact that the Cowboys' defense is just so bad. They don't really get a pass rush. They don't have a whole lot of guys that can tackle. It's a lot of busted coverages. And you start to look and you're like, is it coaching? Probably. They have Matt Eberflus coaching. Why is he still in the league? I do not know. We've seen what he's done in Chicago the last couple years. Yeah, he had a decent defense his last year he was there, but he's coming into a team that just has all kinds of issues on the defensive side of the ball. And whatever he's calling is just not working. Not working. Dak didn't play terrible. He had one interception, but it wasn't really his fault. It was in Pickens' hands. He drops it, caught by the defensive back. But Dak's just not the type of player to carry a team that's down late or just down big. You're missing your star receiver. Your offensive linemen are getting hurt. It's just things are falling apart. Can't really run the ball. Yeah, one decent run day at the very start of the game, and Javonte Williams literally just had the ball took from him. Was running and just had it took from him. It was a man. Just a man. So, Caleb did look solid, but again, all his big completions were just too wide open guys. Granted, to be good, you do have to hit your layups. But I don't know if I'd still trust him in tight coverage per se yet. But could be a big confidence builder going forward just to be like, put a good game under your belt, if you can do that consistently, start feeling good, offense starts clicking more. The one thing I'll find interesting, out of all the weapons for the Bears, it looks like they're all making plays, having fun, having a good time, except DJ Moore. From watching the game, I feel like DJ Moore didn't really get his first touch until like the third quarter. And then they went to him like 3 straight times. And then he scores. But I don't know. DJ Moore just doesn't look super enthusiastic is the word I would use to be there. So I don't know if it's because of personnel, the way they're trying to use him. That'd just be something to keep my eye on. Wouldn't shock me if maybe they try to move him just because he is starting to creep up in age and the contract's not the worst contract in the world, but they are paying him a lot. And if you're going to start treating him like a number 3 wide receiver, I think a lot of teams would trade for him because he would be a great number 2 or a low end 1. I'd have him back in Carolina. That'd be great. But I think the Bears have plenty of players on their personnel offensively. Defensively, still a little up and down, but this was just all around good performance by the Bears. They needed it to build confidence going into their season, especially with a lot more division games they're going to have to play. And then we get to Sunday Night Football. Chiefs come away with the win 22-9. And this was an ugly game for a good while. The Chiefs, I understand they won the game by double digits, still have not looked right. Still haven't looked right. I mean, first half final score was 9-6. Chiefs didn't even score a touchdown in the first half. Mahomes, I don't know if it's a regression per se or if he's just trying to do too much and it's just not working, but him and Kelsey can't get on the same page. Mahomes threw a couple passes behind the line, behind his guy, threw a fumble that was recovered by the defense, and then Mahomes took it from the guy. You already know Collinsworth was just glazing that. But, yeah, granted, their offense played a whole lot better than the Giants' offense. Whole lot better. And as of today, I'm filming this on Tuesday. It was just announced Jackson Dart is going to start week 4, which I'm not surprised. I said that from the get-go. I didn't see Wilson making it past week 4 just because I didn't believe in him. I understand he had a good week 2 game, but as we're starting to see, was it really that he had a good game, or was it just the fact that the Cowboys defense is so bad that a lot of people are going to have good games against them? But I'm interested to see how the Giants offense will move on from this, because they're going to have a rookie quarterback playing. The starter, Tyrone Tracy, dislocated his shoulder, so it's going to be all Scatterbo, which he actually had a pretty good game, both on the ground and catching. I mean, I think he led the team in receiving yards and rushing yards. So, and man, it's just fun to watch that guy play football. I mean, he just likes to get the ball and just find a guy and just go hit him. It's exciting. I mean, he will be the main reason I will somewhat enjoy watching the Giants play football, just because he runs like a man, a grown man. He does not care who's coming at him. He's lowering his shoulder, lowering his head, and is ready to run through him. He likes playing big boy ball. The Chiefs, I understand to get a win under their belt. The defense still looks solid, but this offense, I don't know if this offense is truly ready to compete against top end talent. I understand Rashee Rice will come back from his suspension. Xavier Worthy is bound to come back from his injury, but they still can't run the ball. Mahomes just hasn't looked right so far this year. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they just need a personnel change. Maybe bring in some new guys, build up a better offensive line. I don't know. But they got to get figured out quick before they have to go play a lot of these AFC teams that are on their schedule, not just in their division. Because Suff played Chargers again. They ain't played the Broncos. They haven't played the Raiders. It could get scary for the Chiefs. So I'm not saying they're going to miss the playoffs entirely, but if they keep putting out games like this, there's a chance that they're scrapping their way to be a wild card team, which would be a first under the Mahomes Andy Reid era. So that's just gonna be something that we gotta keep an eye on as the season goes along. And then after we got that stinker of a Sunday night game, we get this Monday night game. And man, did this Monday night game deliver. We had the Ravens march into Baltimore and get a big win, 38-30. And I understand it was a one-score game. It did not feel like a one-score game. I felt like the Lions were in control for a vast majority of the game. They go down, opening drive, score a touchdown. Immediately, Ravens answer. Both get stops, and then they both score again. And then they take a lead late. Like, I think it was 28-21, 28-24. We're like, okay, Ravens getting the ball at home. Kind of like these odds, probably going to chew some clock, try and score a touchdown with little no time. And Derrick Henry, dude, just straight up fumbles again in a close game again on prime time again. And that ultimately, I don't want to say cost them the game, but it put them down 2 scores because Lions immediately jump on it, get it, turn it into a touchdown late to go up 2 scores. This is the second time, this is the third time Henry has fumbled all year, which already meets his season totals from last year. But we've seen it twice in close games on prime time. That's what happened week 1 against the Bills. They were up a score, just trying to chew clock, get out of that game, and they fumbled. And that's how the Bills got right back in it. And in this one, trying to come back and beat the Lions, and he does it again. I don't want to necessarily say he's lost a step because he still looks pretty good moving the ball. But it's a big deal. 3 games, 3 fumbles, 2 of them late in games that ultimately give up potential wins. And it's a tough thing to watch. That and the fact that Lamar got sacked 7 times. It blows my mind that a player like Lamar Jackson can get sacked 7 times just because of how mobile he is. But when the defensive line is just putting on a clinic like that, and the secondary is actually holding up well to where Lamar can't get a ball out quick, credit to the Lions. They were able to put together a defense game plan that worked and just offensively kind of able to do whatever they want. When the run game wasn't working, they were able to get the ball to their pass catchers. And then late, they got the run game working well, especially with David Montgomery. He had a big game. Gibbs still did too. He didn't have a whole lot of yards, but he had 2 scores right there in the red zone. I think that was the big difference. The Lions went 4 for 4 in the red zone. I don't know if that late Montgomery touchdown was technically in the red zone or right outside of it, but they were 100% in the red zone. Ravens were only 2 for 4 on the night. That kind of makes a big difference, especially for a Ravens defense that we think very highly of. They have really only looked good in 1 game. They gave up 40 plus to the Bills, gave up 38 tonight or last night on Monday night. But I don't know if it's necessarily because the Ravens defense is bad or if it's the simple fact that the offense at time is putting them in bad positions. Not necessarily Lamar. Lamar, I think, has played really well to start the year. But, again, Derrick Henry, 2 turnovers on your side of the 50. They're going to turn into points, especially against good teams. We've already seen it twice this year. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe this becomes a trend, but you got to find a way to get that mentally off of Derrick, because if not, it's going to just be a recurring thing. And at this point, I don't know if Lamar can truly carry this team through those woes, especially with the defense being very up and down the field, getting worn out. I understand they were missing their starting D tackle, and that made a difference, especially in stopping the run. But it was a great game, very entertaining. And all in all, I mean, it was a very interesting weekend of football. I had a great time. I'm excited to see what this upcoming week is. Be ready for the predictions for the next week of NFL and college. If you like the video, leave a like, subscribe. leave a comment down below. Any highs, any lows that you think of whether it's your favorite team, any of the matchups you watched. And that's all I got for you. Thank you for joining in on the Fumble Podcast. I was your host, Dalton Lee. Until next time, deuces.